Welcome to Spirits of Whisky. We explore the wide world of whiskey through the many colorful personalities who make it, promote it, write about it, and more.
With each podcast, Kerry Moynahan, a certified bourbon steward and bartender, and yours truly, Philip Dobard, director of the cocktail collection, interview whiskey's most important names.
From high-profile makers, blenders, and ambassadors,
to out-of-the-way innovators and remote pioneers.
Join us as we discover the people and elements that give the water of life its spirit.
It is Whiskey Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, and you're listening to episode 47. Today, we speak with Kaitlyn Tsai about her award-winning role with Kavalan Whiskey.
But first, stay tuned for this week's Whiskey Chronicles. Japanese whiskey long ago established itself as a major player on the world whiskey stage. But since Japan's first distillery, Yamazaki, started producing whiskey in 1924, just what does and does not constitute Japanese whiskey has never been codified. According to Eli Refeld, co-founder of High Road Spirits, an American importer of Japanese whiskeys, as long as there was a drop of malt, or it touched Japan, and it had aged in a barrel, you could label it as Japanese whiskey, and there was no one who could stop you. But on February 12th of this year, the Japan Spirits and Liqueurs Makers Association published standards for labeling Japanese whiskey. And for the whiskey world, this is a very big deal. The new regulations, which took effect April 1st, define just what goes into a Japanese whiskey and requires that all production take place in Japan. Makers have 3 years to align their production processes and labeling practices with the new standards. And while the new standards are just that, standards, the National Diet, Japan's bicameral legislature, almost certainly will adopt these as law, and so they'll be recognized by the United States, European Union, and other international trading blocs. While several makers, particularly the larger ones with well-established international profiles, Suntory and Nikka, for instance, either anticipated the coming changes or already observed the conventions of the world's other major producers, many producers and brands, particularly the smaller ones, are very much in conflict with the standards and must make significant changes to either their production processes or labeling practices, or both. And while the question of whether whiskey made from rice, because of its use of koji, or mold, in fermentation, a process unique to Japan, is whiskey, is not addressed by the new standards and thus remains open, the coming changes will be unequivocally good for one invested party, the consumer. No more misleading labels, no more questions as to the source of the ingredients in that bottle of Japanese whiskey, or even whether it was made in Japan.
From Japan to Taiwan, our Asian theme continues. Up next, we speak with Kaitlyn Tsai from Kavalan Whiskey. Stay with us.
The Center for Culinary Culture, home to the cocktail collection, has a YouTube channel, EatsDrinksTV. Streaming now are Cocktails, The Grand Tour, Culinary Quickies, Music and Booze with Mo, V is for Vino, Complete Greek, and this podcast, Spirits of Whisky. Find us on YouTube at EatsDrinksTV and subscribe now. The Center for Culinary Culture, telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time.
Today on Spirits of Whisky, we have a very special guest. We have with us Kaitlyn Tsai of Kavalan Distillery in Taiwan. Kaitlyn, welcome. I know you and I have talked briefly before. You won quite the accolade last year.
Yes.
You were named Whisky Ambassador of the Year by the World Whisky Awards. Is that correct?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Kaitlyn, and I feel really humbled to receive this incredible award. I think the honor should go to the whole Cavallon team. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Oh, how magnanimous. That's wonderful.
Ah.
So you serve as a brand ambassador and the global public relations officer at Cavallon, correct?
Yes, that's true. I'm based in Kavalan Distillery. So if any time you want to visit Kavalan Distillery, maybe you can find me there. And I would love to guide you an in-depth this year's tour to showing you all the facilities at Kavalan Distillery.
What an invitation, because we have your mobile number. So we're just going to text you at 3 a.m. We're going to whiskey drunk text you at 3 a.m. and say, we're here.
We're here.
Yeah. Say walking in the distillery, like Yeah.
I don't know how much Philip told you about how the show came to be, but we were working on a whiskey pilot, cooking show pilot. And with COVID lockdown, we decided, well, we'll have to put filming on hold, obviously, but we wanted to keep our fans involved. So we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And one of the things we are hoping to do as soon as COVID is over is get back out on the road with the TV show. So hopefully we can come visit you.
That would be great. Yeah. I think in springtime, Cavallon Distillery, you can see a lot of beautiful cherry blossoms. Right now we have several in front of our second distillery. So you can pay a visit to Kavalan Distillery and enjoy the whiskey at our newly revamped Kavalan Garden Hall.
Wow, awesome.
It's a very beautiful place, yeah, with a Kavalan Garden bar, tasting room, and also a DIY blending whiskey lab.
Wow.
So you can create your own Kavalan whiskey by blending by 4 different expressions from Cavallon.
That's incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. So let me ask you, we always start out each interview asking our guests about their whiskey journey. So as a child, did you ever imagine that your career would be as this fantastic whiskey person that's involved with so many different levels and now an award-winning person on top of that?
I would say I haven't imagined that I will be that kind of person because before joining Cavallon, my career was actually in the film industry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. At that time, I was hired by both Taiwan cinema and took part in 2 projects. One is an award-winning environmental documentary film, Beyond Beauty, Taiwan from Above, and a feature film about an air ambulance rescue team.
Oh, wow.
But tragically, the director, Chef Louise, he died in a helicopter crash while carrying out aerial filming. So actually, after completing the memorial exhibition and concert for Director Chi, I returned to my hometown in Yilan, where the distillery is based.
Wow.
I saw through why I had a deep passion for the sequel of Beyond Beauty, Taiwan from Above, because actually that movie can let people around the world know more about this small but beautiful country. And they will be astonished by the nature of beauties and also saddened by some dark places on this island.
Wow.
So it is also a wake-up call to develop people's awareness of environmental protection and also Taiwanese cultural identity and the feeling of Taiwanese cultural awareness.
Wow.
That is my story before joining Cavallon.
That's awesome. So what did you do on the film? Were you like a producer or were you talent?
Yeah, I'm a production assistant, but sometimes I have to write the proposal to raising funds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also to do a lot of a lot of work.
Kaitlyn, as it happened, you and I have the same degree from UCLA. Reading over your bio, I saw, 2014,
Wow.
It's like I did the same program.
Wow.
So anyway.
I have a partial certificate from UCLA.
Wow, amazing. Really enjoy the time taking the certificate there.
Yeah, it's a small world. So
yeah, really full work.
Were you guys doing it at the same time even, Philip?
No,
Okay.
No, we were some years apart.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Here's what I'm doing with mine. Kaitlyn is selling whiskey and apparently doing it very well.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So were you a whiskey fan when you started working in the whiskey industry, or did you just kind of happen upon it?
I think I visited Cavallon this year many times while growing up because my hometown is in Yilan. The first time I tried whiskey neat was right there in Cavallon Distillery.
Oh, nice.
At the public tasting area a few years before I started working for the company. So I remember there were so many nosing samples of different expressions on the table, and they gave me one free can of Kavalan Classic. Today we are going to taste this whiskey.
I'm already tasting it, but sure.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to wait to have her tell me which order we should do it in. But okay.
Yeah, but I can recall how surprised I was at it's very mellow and multi-layer aroma. And it's 40% ABV whiskey. At that time, I think for me, that will be very alcoholic. But I am surprised that it didn't burn at all. and I found its aroma to almost be a very pleasant male perfume.
Mm-hmm.
So that really gave me confidence in the palatability of Cavallon's whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced that Cavallon has changed the industry, making quality about maturity and not about the age.
Yeah.
So in 2016, it happened. Kavalan Distillery was recruiting a brand ambassador. I knew there were so many invisible champions in Taiwan with very excellent products.
Mm-hmm.
So the few who could speak for this brand. So it would be amazing if I could be that person to represent Cavallon and spreading and sharing the flavor and story of our Taiwanese whiskey with the world.
That's beautiful.
Well, I think we've got to taste it now. This is the classic, right? We're talking about the classic first?
Yeah.
This is the classic. Caitlin, this was your introduction to Cavallon, right?
Yes.
Nice.
It was my introduction to Cavallon as well, because I first tasted this in LA back in 2014, so 7 years ago, when your predecessor was touring the US. Yeah, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
The first time I had a Cavallon was with the Southern California Whiskey Society, and it was one of the rare appearances where Chris Udy was representing along with Michael
Reese.
Yes, Michael Reese.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fantastic. And I was like, and I had no idea that at the time that Taiwan was producing whiskey, let alone this fantastic.
Yeah, this stuff is...
Wow, that's lovely.
Usually Cavallon made whiskey, the minimum year is 4 years. So we only consider to bottle the whiskey after 4 years.
Okay.
This is the average of 4 years whiskey. So you can feel it is quite creamy and it's very mature.
Yes.
It's not like the very young whiskey.
It's got beautiful legs. It's very thick legs on here.
Yeah, that's true.
Ian Chang is the gentleman who preceded you. He was also master blender, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's our former master blender and also brand ambassador.
Uh-huh.
He did a lot of stuff and and he also left a great legacy to Cavallon.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great storyteller. He never won Ambassador of the Year from World Whiskey. So thinking you must be a very good storyteller as well.
So Caitlyn's got one up on good old Mr.
Chang.
Master Distiller,
Yeah.
Mr. Chang.
I can't say so, but he did won this year Manager of the Year.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good. Before we move on to the other two expressions that we have here, the Select and the Vinho Barrique.
I love the Vinho.
I won't tell our listeners yet what award that won, but wow. Can we go back and talk about the origin of the Kavalan Distillery? How did that start? Because, when people think whiskey, they think the US, they think Scotland, they think Ireland, and increasingly they're thinking about places like Australia, Japan, of course, Australia and India, but Taiwan. This is new to most people. How did this happen?
Yeah. So for a long time before Cavallon was established, our chairman, Mr. Lee Sr., he had already had a deep love for whiskey, and he dreamed of making 100% single malt whiskey from Taiwan. So King Car Group, which is the parent group company of Kavalan Distillery, initially it made household cleaning products and then entered the food and beverage industry in 1970.
Wait. They went from household cleaning products to whiskey?
Yes.
When you think about it, unless you age it, so you don't cut out the heads and the tails, you leave those in, and you don't age it in a beautiful barrel, you basically have a cleaning product.
I mean, you can sterilize things, I guess, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I do watch Outlander, and she's constantly pouring whiskey on people's wounds because there's nothing else to clean it with, but, still.
Yeah. So until today, we still produce something like sanitary products and hand wash or something, household products. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, we have that root in the chemical industry as well.
Okay.
So 1979, we started to produce mineral water, tea, and sports drinks. So in Taiwan, you can find a very, very famous coffee chain called Mr. Brown. We also export the canned coffee to a lot of overseas markets. So we would say our founders, they have the boldness and courage to help build up the Kavalan Distillery to represent Taiwanese whiskey. And in 2018, the Lee's family, the Lee's father and son, they were honored with Hall of Fame. They became the first Chinese-speaking and also first father and son inductees.
Wow.
Yeah, so in Cavallon was established actually in 2005. It's quite late. If you look at our neighbor, Japan, they started with the first distillery in Yamazaki in 1923. So we are...
Well, they had a head start because a Japanese gentleman went to Scotland, study at Heriot-Watt University, and he fell in love with a Scottish woman, and they moved back to Japan, and he knew how to make whiskey. So
yeah, that's true.
Head start.
Yeah, we need a romantic story to make our...
It's a romantic story, yes.
Yeah. So
a whiskey born of love.
Yeah. Before 2002, we can build our own winery, brewery, or distillery because of the monopoly system in Taiwan. Only government can produce whiskey, but they didn't do that.
Okay.
So until 2002, when we joined WTO, we started Cavallon project because the monopoly system was lifted. So our founders, they sent the research team to so-called 5 whiskey producing countries, including United States, Ireland, Scotland, Japan, and Canada, to look at how they operate their distillery and what kind of equipment they use, and came back to Taiwan in 2005. They just built the first distillery and the first maturation warehouse in 9 months.
Wow.
It was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's very quick because we are a family-owned business, so they can do everything very precisely and also effectively.
Yeah, that's the case in too many countries for my taste. In some other countries as well. Colombia, for instance. Of course, this is changing, but historically there are countries where alcohol production, be it wine, beer, spirits, those operations had to be owned by the state.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, that's not the case here.
Yeah. So, but in Taiwan, that law was repealed in 2002?
Yeah, it was repealed and allowed private distilleries or private owners to open their own distillery.
Okay, all right. Was there any whiskey production in Taiwan before Cavallon, a state-owned distillery, or what was produced there by Zhou?
Before we produce whiskey, there is no any other whiskey distillery in Taiwan. We are the one and only at that time.
Okay.
How about now? Do you guys have a competition now? Are people trying to one-up you?
Yeah, so 3 years later, 2008, the government built their own distillery called Nantou, and then
Of course.
right now there are totally 3 distilleries in Taiwan producing single malt whiskey.
Oh wow! But you guys are the first. You're the original.
Yes, we are the first one.
The OG, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Is Cavallon better than the state competition?
Oh, I think so.
I cannot say about that.
Oh, you can't say. Okay, let's move on.
So, yeah.
Legally, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlyn can't tell us her opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I just had a taste of the Distillery Select, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about this expression?
Yeah, so Distillery Select is actually our first really entry-level Cavallon in the portfolio. So this one was created to do food pairing and also to do the whiskey base of any kind of cocktail. So it is very versatile. Yeah, and when you taste it, because it is from the various kind of refill cask. So when you taste it, you will find it is less woodiness. And also it is quite smooth and silky with the subtropical fruitiness. Especially can present our house style of our new make. So with like mango, pineapple.
It's definitely lighter than the first one.
Yeah, it just smells like Calvados. You can smell a lot of...
Indeed, Calvados. Yeah, there are apple notes. Very definitely apple notes.
Green apple.
You said this is aged in refill casks?
Yeah, refill casks.
Ex-bourbon?
Actually, various types. So they are all 20 or 30 years old refill casks. So it is less with the flavor active, like flavor profile, like less wittiness. It is very pure, and you can note all this like toffee sweetness in the whiskey.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a variety. It's aged in a variety of casks?
Yes.
Okay. All right. From all over the world or just Taiwan?
Mainly from Japan and Scotland.
Oh, Japan and Scotland. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's got a very unique flavor. I like it.
This is wonderful.
It's light. Yeah, it's light.
I don't want a
but it's
cocktail
easy to
with this.
drink.
I want to drink
No.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Okay, my favorite of the three, because I'm charged with the duty of opening the bottles as soon as we get them to pour samples for Chef Louise, who does a pairing segment later in the show. I don't know how I got charged with that. I think it's because I want
I've
to
done
open
it a couple times.
A couple, but I think it's
because I typically open mine the day of the interview, and you don't.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think it's because I'm like, oh, this looks really tasty. I should taste it so I can form some questions. But my favorite of the three that you sent over is by far this blue label. It is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it.
Barrique. Now, World Whiskey Awards in 2020, yes, Caitlin?
World Whiskey Awards in 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
This is the World Champion.
2015.
Yeah,
World's best single malt whiskey.
Yes.
And it's got the most beautiful, like leather-esque blue case.
Oh, yeah. The glorifier is glorious.
Yeah.
Pretty special. Now, the award was given in 2015. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. 2015.
Okay. I know it comes with a certificate of authenticity. Now, the world's best single malt. Think about this. How many wonderful world-class single malts are there?
How many?
Well, there are many. There are dozens to hundreds of great single malt whiskeys. But this was named best. I'm just saying, it's quite the achievement.
It is quite an honor. And the nose.
And the fact that it's not coming from the British Isles.
Or America.
Or, or that.
I prefer, as everyone who listens knows, I prefer single malt whiskeys over bourbons or rye.
Anything else.
Right. Okay. There's just something about barley that me and barley are buds, and I just love it. I love barley in a soup. I love barley in a whiskey. I love barley.
I love it in soup too.
Yeah.
So when I saw that we had a world-class winner of a single malt coming our way in this beautiful case, that's another reason I couldn't wait to open it. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm already almost half through because I can't put it down.
And I just released my first pour.
The nose on this is so delicious.
This is released at cask strength. There's 57.1 or 114.2. Tell us about the aging process.
Yeah, so it is fully matured in the single wine cask. So when you look at this is from single cask caption series. In Taiwan, we named this the Soulless. But because of the trademark reasons, we can now label it as Soulless series in the U.S. market. So we named it Vinho because the first batch of cask was come from Portugal. Vinho means wine in Portuguese. So when you notice it, you can find there is a very strong caramel flavor. That is actually comes from our special treatment for the wine cask. So before we fill the new make into the cask, we will go through SPR treatment, shave, toast, and recharge. So we will shave the very thin layer of the interior side of the cask first to remove unwanted acid compounds. And then we will gently toast it at 250 degrees Celsius to make more vanilla.
Vanilla,
like ice cream flavors releasing out.
You had me at ice cream.
Yeah.
It does have definite ice cream flavors for sure.
And then the last part is the recharring. So we will put the intense fire into the cask to burn to a crisp. You can imagine a very strong fire in the cask and the ash residue will just remain in the cask. So that brings very beautiful caramel-like sugar flavors to the whiskey.
Now, you say this is 100% matured in all of the aging is done in ex-Portuguese wine casks.
Right now, we import wine barrels from America and also from France, so different places. So that is why we have to innovate this kind of treatment for the wine cask to secure the consistency and quality for the cask.
Mm-hmm.
So when you taste Vinho Barrique, even it was mature in the single cask from different countries, you still find the basic profile of caramel flavor,
Mm-hmm.
passion fruit or something like peach flavors from this whiskey.
Okay, so it is or is not a Portuguese wine cask?
Yeah, just from beginning, we only use wine barrels from Portugal.
Okay.
After that, we use different barrels.
Okay, so there's a finishing process as well?
No,
Okay.
full-time mature or full-time mature.
Okay, in a Portuguese wine cask. Okay, is it a port cask or just a non-port Portuguese wine?
Not port wine. It's just
Not port wine. Okay.
Wine cask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. This is, what can I say? We don't need words for this. Question, cooperage. Do you have your own cooperage? Do you make your own barrels or do you bring in all of your barrels?
We have a cooperage for repairing and also for mending the cask.
Okay.
And we also have a returning area to the STR process to make the flavor alive again.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have the cooperage, but we didn't really make the new barrels by ourselves.
Okay, understood. Does Taiwan have oak? And if it does, have you looked at building barrels from Taiwanese oak?
Actually, Taiwan is a very small island. It is covered 70% by mountains. But most oak or pine trees, they are located in the national park. So we cannot exploit it then.
All right.
I have a little side note that's just something fun for a topic. I worked on an Animal Planet show and I didn't get to go myself, but I sent my crew to Taipei and then they went through the jungle and they were looking for some sort of a cat. But I have some friends now in Taipei and I've been given the invitation to stop by anytime. So I'm hoping when the TV show takes off that not only can I come and visit you, but some of these other people with. We had some fantastic footage of your beautiful forests and jungles. It's just a gorgeous country. So.
Wow.
How many expressions are in the market right now? Yeah, how many expressions does the distillery produce? And how many expressions could someone in the United States?
Yes, in the United States. How many could they buy here in our stores?
So far, Cavallon Distillery produced 30 different expressions.
Wow.
30.
30.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a massive range of whiskey. So we have different series. For example, Distillery Select, it's actually a series. So we have 2 whiskey in this series. One is feature subtropical fruitness we just taste. Another one is blends herbal notes and also floral notes. That is the second one. So in the future, we will launch in the US. Another is Cavallon series, mainly Betty single malt. So you can find something like Kavalan Classic. We just taste Kavalan Classic. We use bourbon, sherry, first fill, and also some refill cask to blend this whiskey. Another one is Concept Master series. It's a cask finish whiskey. Solis is a single cask strength series. So I just say it is non-chill filtrated, non-diluted, and cask strength series. It retains the fullest flavor from single cask. Also, the series Reserve and others. And also RT series, we are in collaboration with Taiwanese master artist Paul Zhang in 2020 to launch first art things with this. So in United States, I think they can buy something like Kavalan Classic at 40% and also bourbon oak, sherry oak at 43%, and also some rare sherry single cask like Amontillado, Mezzanina, PS, Moscatel, always whiskey.
Wow.
I think it's around 8 to 10 expressions available in the United States.
That's a pretty decent amount, actually.
Okay, so 1/3 of your output is available in the US currently.
Yeah.
Is that growing?
It is growing. That's because for registration, it takes more time than in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I wanted to know, Out of all the countries that you distribute to, what's the largest number of expressions that you send to a particular country, and which country is the country that gets the most expressions, other than Taiwan, obviously?
Other than Taiwan,
Okay.
I think maybe it's Japan. They carry more different expressions of Cavallon, and they also have Kavalan gin. So, and they actually it's still pretty well in Japan.
Okay.
They prefer like sherry casks, and there are 5 expressions of sherry casks in Cavallon range.
Do we have any sherry cask expressions in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Because I love those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think right now we have Vinho, Oloroso, and also the other 4 rare sherry
Okay, great.
casks I have mentioned. So a total is 6 actually.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so angel share. Angel share varies wildly
Yeah.
all over the world, and it's highly dependent on, it's a function of climate, particularly relative humidity. The humidity in Taiwan is notoriously high,
Yeah.
and thus the angel share in Taiwan is notoriously high. Can you talk to our listeners about how much you lose every year when whiskey sits in a barrel?
So in Taiwan, the humidity is around, in Yilan County especially, it's around 80%. So that is very, very warm and humid there.
Look, I grew up in New Orleans. 80%, I get it. It's
Yeah.
very high. It's very wet.
Yeah. In summertime, the high heat will make you crazy.
Mhm.
In wintertime, we are very lucky we have cold wind from Siberia. So actually, it brings down the temperature to 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. So actually, the cold and warm influence make our whiskey to be massaged. Like it has very good breathing and breathe out effect in the cask.
Mhm.
So each year, from beginning when we start the distillery, it's 10 to 12%.
Wow.
But we do some physical treatment to lower down the angel share to about, now it's 8 to 10.
Okay.
8 to 10% angel share. Yeah.
So do you think that in the future, if you wanted to do really old expressions, do you think you'll be able to do it with that amount of angel share? Or are you going to just try it anyway and hope that you can get a few drops out of these barrels to do it?
Yeah, maybe we will try to innovate a way to not harm the flavor, but at the same time we can keep the liquid not too woody, not too like wood juice. So
Right,
we
wood
are
juice,
still,
exactly.
trying to do our best.
Yeah.
But I think actually this kind of high heat, it is the profile of Kavalan whiskey. I think we don't really want to change it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that is why right now our maturation warehouse are all left to nature,
Mhm.
because we hope that the geographical condition to shape our whiskey. Yeah.
2 questions. How old is the Vinho Barrique?
This one, if you look at the cask number,
Mhm.
you can find it starts from a letter, it's W, that means wine.
Okay.
And the first 2 numbers for mine is 14. So we fill the new make into the barrel in 2014.
Okay.
Okay. Mine is 2012. So we're 2012 then?
Yours is older, yeah.
Nice.
And you look at the barrel label, you can find the bottling date. Mine is 2020, so mine is 6 years Vinho Barrique.
Wait, where does it say for the 20? Oh, on the back I see something that says 2018, like in a... Oh, yeah, it says 5/21/2018 US. So this is my dad's birthday, actually, 5/21.
Wow. Wow.
Cheers to you, Woody. And his name is Woody, which is
Woody.
appropriate for a barrel.
Wonderful.
My follow-up question is, what is the oldest Cavallon that is available not in the US, but anywhere? What is the oldest whiskey that Cavallon has released?
Has released. So I have traveled around the world, and I have found like 12 years old single cask from Cavallon at duty-free store.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe around 12, and there will be the release single malt. That is the oldest, I guess. Yeah.
And what's the oldest that you regularly release, like that you have as a special edition? Do you have like a 12-year that you regularly put out?
So for bourbon cask, because it is smaller, around 180, so usually it takes 3 to 5 years for maturation. And for sherry cask, usually it takes more 7 to 9 years. For wine cask, usually we find it's around 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
So it depends on each cask and the size and also the condition of the maturation.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you have any whiskey in the warehouse that you're experimenting with, say looking at like 20, 22, 24-year releases that you're monitoring for quality?
Yeah, we did. So we still have some casks filled in 2005.
Wow.
Still. Yeah, looking at, because some people believe that there is something like circulation of the maturation, like around like 8 years, they will go to a high perfection of maturation again, something like that.
Right.
So we do have some whiskey, very old, very old.
Mm-hmm. Have you tasted it?
I didn't, but I have tasted some around 11 years
Mm-hmm.
in the maturation warehouse.
We're nearing the end of our interview. We always end with cocktail talk. Do you drink cocktails?
Yeah, I do.
Do you make cocktails with Cavallon? And if so, which expressions are your favorite to make cocktails with?
Yeah, that will be Distillery Select. This one.
Aha, the Distillery Select. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this one I will recommend to make blood and sand.
A blood and sand.
Oh, well,
Okay.
yeah, I can see that.
Suitable for 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We will replace traditional Scotch with our Distillery Select
Mm-hmm.
and use the lemon juice to replace the orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
So it will make it sweeter and a little bit sour.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can find the caramel smoothness from Distillery Select,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
and it is very beautiful.
Yeah.
I have the recipe if you would like to.
Yeah, send it to me, please. I'll put it in the show notes so people can make them at home.
Yeah, that would be great.
What are your favorite cocktails? When you walk into a bar, when Kaitlyn Tsai walks into a bar and Cavallon is not on the menu, what does Kaitlyn Tsai order?
I think I like sidecar.
Aha.
I like something sour and sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
So a little bit brandy.
A brandy cocktail. Yeah.
But I will use Kavalan Classic brandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
love.
Yes. Yes. I will say the Cavallons across the board have a very rich wine quality to them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So brandy would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to back up just a little bit. Out of the 3 expressions that you sent to us, which is your favorite in order from favorite to not as favorite?
But still you like very much.
Oh, yeah. There are all my babies. But depends on my mood. If I need to talk with someone very important, I would choose Vinho Barrique because
Makes sense. That makes sense.
it is a long drink. I can.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's very important. Okay.
Yeah.
We are very important.
Yeah.
See, that's great.
Yeah.
That was the right answer, Caitlin.
Yeah.
When you're at home and you're just having your own little tipple, which is the bottle that you reach for?
So the Distillery Select will be my first choice.
The Distillery Select.
okay.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, alone at home. And before going to bed, I will drink about 10 milliliter and it will get me very well sleep. So
That's very precise.
yeah, very beautiful thing.
Nice, nice. Well, I think all 3 of these expressions are fantastic, and
Yes.
I absolutely love the vino. It's by far my favorite. I think it's got a fantastic story. There's a little story here. Every cask is especially selected by the master blender for its distinct character and fine distillery quality. Each bottle is meticulously bottled and labeled for your unique sampling pleasure. And I'm impressed with myself because I can read that. Oh, that's because I'm wearing my glasses, but it's very small print and my eyes are.
It is.
Yeah, it is very small.
But I absolutely love this expression. I love all of them, but I have not had this one before you sent it, and I just fell in love. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having Cavallon at the food cuisine.
Yes.
We're very happy to have featured both Cavallon and you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And up next, we're going to have Chef Louise Leonard pair and or cook with one of these lovely expressions. So I can't wait to see what she's going to come up with because I can only imagine something very tasty because every single one of these are so great.
She's going to fall in love with these.
Oh, she totally is.
Oh, that's amazing.
So when we put this out, I will let you know so you can listen and find out what it is that she decides to cook with because it's going to be fun.
Okay.
But thank you so much, Caitlin, for being here today. You have a great story. I loved hearing all about Cavallon's history and how it became what it is today. And I'm so excited that you guys have so many expressions. And I can't wait to put this out there so that more people will learn about your whiskey.
Thank Thank you so much, Kerry and Philip.
Thank you, Kaitlyn.
I really much appreciate this opportunity. We will welcome you anytime to Kavalan Distillery, and it will be great if you can spend a couple of days in Taiwan. Then we can bring you to the nice restaurant and nice bar.
Oh,
Yeah, and we have a Kavalan whiskey bar.
oh, dinner and a show. Okay.
Yeah.
We will not say no to that. We will not say no to that.
All right.
Hope to see you soon when the pandemic is over.
Likewise.
World of Wheezy is up next. Stay with us.
Hey, do you like whiskey, food, and adventure?
I do. Hi, I'm Kerry.
I'm Philip.
I'm Louise. I'm the chef.
Chef Louise Leonard, as in our World of Wheezy segment host here on the podcast. And Whiskey, a Chef's Journey. That chef.
That's right, the project that started this very podcast. The series stars our very own chef Louise Leonard, winner of Emmy-winning The Taste on ABC.
And explores and connects the worlds of whiskey and food, city by city, country by country.
Would you like to see this spirited culinary adventure on a TV near you?
Well, you can by helping us finish the pilot episode through our crowdfunding campaign.
For more information, including behind-the-scenes photos, videos, and incentives,
And to make a pledge,
visit our website, whiskyachefsjourney.com.
or search for our campaign, Whiskey, a Chef's Journey, at GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe.com now.
Well, I think it's a cheers to that.
Let's. Cheers.
Hey Louise, nice to have you this week. This week we are talking about Taiwanese whiskey from Cavallon. And we had Caitlyn on, and she was fantastic. She had all these great things to tell us, and she's also an award winner for this year's Whiskey Awards. So which expression did you choose?
Well, hello there, Kerry. And I'm not sure if I'm picking your favorite. I mean, I had a clear favorite, I think, for just drinking for sure, and that was the Vinho Barrique. So what I'm going to tell you, though, is I'm pairing with the Kavalan Classic, and here is why. I had this moment while drinking it where I'm like, I know exactly what I want to pair with this, and I simply cannot think of a better food to pair with Taiwanese whiskey than with a Pork Belly Bao. And for those of you out there who maybe have not experienced the glory of such a snack, it is a steamed bun, maybe 3 to 4 inches around, fluffy, and it's stuffed with pork belly that's been braised in a mixture of white wine, soy sauce, Chinese 5-spice powder. Sometimes they're topped crushed peanuts and pickled mustard greens and cilantro. You know, here in LA, we have a large Taiwanese community, so you have a lot of different chefs doing tons of fun things with bao. But if we went for just like the classic flavors, it would definitely be a sweet and salty pork belly. And so that is what I was going with. And I just have to say, I think the sweetness of the pork picks up a lot of the vanilla in the whiskey, and it's a real serious match made in heaven. So classic hot Taiwanese snack, classic Taiwanese whiskey. Perfect.
That sounds amazing. And I actually had pork belly last night and then for breakfast this morning. And had I talked to you earlier, I would have saved that pork belly to try it with this expression because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, but you would have needed the steamed bun to go along with it.
True.
Very crucial element of this dish.
Yes. Well, it sounds fantastic. And of course, as usual, can't wait to try it. And I appreciate your input on this week. And I can't wait to see what you have for us next week. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. Let's talk next week.
For show notes on today's podcast, please visit our website at spiritsofwhiskey.com. That's whiskey with an E.
We'll include links and supporting documents from today's stories in this episode's blog post.
As always, you'll see upcoming topics, a guest roster, and links to past shows.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time,
Slanchava.
Spirits of Whiskey is produced by First Reel Entertainment and the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and is available via Anchor, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever fine podcasts are heard.